the last three games?
Can do if you want. All right, let's start. Everybody, welcome back to the Spurs 9501 podcast. This is Ray in London. I'm in a different scenery setting, so you've got a different background. Welcome to welcome to Cam. He's been away for a few weeks. Welcome back, Cam.
Thank you. Have Cam here from sunny Florida.
Good to have you back. We've missed the first couple of post-match reactions, so before we get onto the Watford reaction, Cam, give us your thoughts on the Man City win and the win away to Wolves.
Wow, I mean, the Man City one, probably the biggest surprise. I don't think I've ever seen a Tottenham team play with such ferocity and such speed and such, it's like a totally different team from what I've seen in the last 2 or 3 years. Incredible, exciting, and well-deserved win. I mean, I think that City had 1 or 2 chances, but if Bergwijn had taken his chance, and if Bergwijn took all his chances, we'd probably have won the league a couple of last year. But if he took his chance, we would have been sailed through that game. Fantastic. I think Wolves was an interesting one because totally different style of play, totally different game plan. I think it was a definite penalty. Again, we had a couple of really good chances at the end. Harry could have made it 2. A well-deserved win. So good start. Interesting that they were both 1-0. I think that, what was lacking for me was the finishing when we were supposed to be a very strong team going forward, and then falling behind in the second half, like headless chickens at the back, which we're not anymore. But I think we need to start taking some chances. It's great to see that we have a brand new centre pairing at the back with 2 what look like brand new players to me, because I've never seen those players before. And that's Davison Sanchez and Eric Dyer. They were an absolute revelation. Where have they been in the past? It's like someone's taken their names and put them in different bodies and reprogrammed them on how to play football.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's a lot to do with Skip and Højbjerg as a double pivot in front of them, protecting them a lot more, but probably didn't have that protection last year. But it just shows if you give them protection, there can be a decent pairing. So have you got any stats on our history with Watford before we start the post-match?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, we've had quite an experience with Watford. I mean, we've only played them, 51 times. We've beaten them 32 times. They've won 8 times, and there's been 11 draws. But I think the interesting stat that you'll probably be interested in the Premier League is we've beaten them 8 times. They've won once. I remember that was away a couple of seasons ago. I was at that game. Yeah. And we've kept 5 clean sheets against Watford, and they kept 2 against us in the Premier League. But I suppose the most interesting thing, right, is that we've only lost once in the last 16 games against Watford. So you would have hoped that with those stats we would have done pretty well.
Sorry, go ahead.
In relation to we'll come on to the game stats, but that's just sort of like a bit of a history.
Yeah. It's like a case of can we play you every week? I guess with Watford, we did really well. But I mean, okay, let's just start. So Nuno's playing a 4-4-2, so we've got Dyer and Sanchez, and he's got Reguilon as a left, Tanganga as a right, double pivot of Højbjerg and Skip, and then I was going to say Lamela for a minute. He's got Bergwijn, Dele, and Son, and then he's got the supposedly rejuvenated Harry Kane up front. So first of all, do you agree with what do you think of this 4-2-3-1 formation that Nuno's playing? Do you think it's the right formation?
I think it is. I think it's working. It can work well. I think I was a bit. I mean, the thing about the City game and this game, I would say the City game, you could see clearly his tactics, what we were doing. We pressed them really hard. We never got them any time on the ball, and we moved the ball very, very quickly. Today, I couldn't really see what his tactics were, to be honest with you. I really was very unclear about what we were doing. Were we going to be pushing fast? Were we going to sit back? And so that was a bit confusing for me. But I'm not sure that's our strongest team, to be honest.
What changes would you have made then? What's your strongest team?
Well, you've probably been hearing me say this for a long time, but I can't see with the strength that we've got on the bench that Bergwijn would ever make my my first 11. That's the first thing I'd say. If I wasn't playing Mora, I would be definitely giving Brian Gilmore time because of the way that his pace, his speed, and his technical ability is technically a much more superior player. And then why would you have a player like Lo Celso who can defend he can also create in the team if you're not going to play him. I mean, he's one of the first names on the team sheet for Argentina, but not for Tottenham. That's a bit surprising to me.
Yeah. I mean, we lack that creativity in the midfield. I mean, Højbjerg and Skip are really good, defensively, but that transition from defence to attack the balls and running with the ball and then passing it through, you'd think Lo Celso would be ideal for that. Why are they not playing Lo Celso, do you think?
It's very hard to say. I suppose you can only put 11 on the field, but once he's made that decision to have Bergwijn for his speed running on that side, that he decided to go that way. I mean, I think the issue for me really is that the speed of the wingers for Watford really almost outdid us so many times that it was quite worrying that we didn't counter that more effectively, and I don't think Bergwijn did, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Reguilon had a difficult time with Ismail Assar, didn't he, on that side?
Yeah,
he beat him many times. Should have got booked in the first few minutes, and then he would have been on edge then. But looks like we got away with that one. Yes. So, in terms of, it looks all roses. I think 3-1-0 wins, top of the league. Everything looked fine. So let's just put a bit of realism into this and tell us what the real. Yeah, I think. Tell us what the real thing is like then.
Well, let's just quickly go through the. Hi, Jem.
Hey everyone, good to see you all. Sound okay?
Got green hair, or is it just
I got green hair now. It's not just the camera.
Oh, okay.
It's not the camera. It looks like you've got a hole in your roof as well, but it's not a hole in your roof, right?
No, it's a cloud up there.
Beautiful. Wow, that's amazing.
It's got multiple colors.
Fantastic. I was just going to go through.
Just to fill you in, I was asking Cam. We've won 3 games, scored 3 goals, haven't conceded a goal. Everything should be hunky dory. But Cam's going to put a bit of realism in it now. And then
of course he is.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just take you through the stats for this game very quickly. I mean, we had possession of 58%, but I think most of that came in the second half. In the first half, they seemed to overrun us for the first 20 minutes. But the most interesting one is we had 15 shots. They had 9 shots. We had 8 on target, and they only had 2 on target. So all the running that Watford had and all the sort of like good play that they did and everything else, they never really troubled us. And those 2 shots that Lloris had to save really didn't make much of a difference. And I believe exactly the same with Wolves. Wolves were running us ragged for a while, but did they really bother us? Not really. And the same with City. So what the realism I want to put on here, that there is, without a doubt, Nuno's brought some solidity to the back, but he's also brought one thing that's very different between our second half performances this season so far. I mean, I know it's early days yet compared to when Mourinho was there. We were 1-0 up and we dropped 23 points from winning positions last season because we couldn't hold the lead. We were headless chickens. We'd give the ball away. Just didn't see it this time. Second half, in all 3 games, our solidity and our performance and our taking the game to them was a lot better than it was in the first half. So,
okay, thanks. Jam, what's your general view on the match then?
Today's match it probably wasn't our best performance of the season, and we'll have better ones throughout the season. But I mean, 1-0 is 1-0, and that's a win. That's 3 points. So long may it continue. I think definitely what my dad's saying with the second half performances are not reserved. They're not scared anymore. So we're constantly attacking throughout the 90 minutes, which makes such a huge difference. But I think the biggest factors in being comfortable at 1-0, whereas usually we're not comfortable, last season just never have been, are 5 players. And that's the 2 defenders, because Dyer and Sanchez have been phenomenal. Tanganga. And then just having Skip and Højbjerg. Højbjerg last season looked like a man who needed some assistance all the time, and he has that. And Skip, on the social media, I've seen those people saying Skip had a really good match, but I thought he was average. It wasn't phenomenal by any means, but he does the job that needs to be done. He closes down the players. He covers for the Højbjerg covering Tanganga when he goes up forward, and it makes such a difference defensively, and it shows with Dyer and Sanchez. They didn't overnight become good defenders. They just are not fearing for their lives constantly,
So I think what we agree is the double pivot of Højbjerg and Skip is protecting Dyer and Sanchez, not making them exposed as much as they were previously, and they're obviously doing a lot better because of that, which is a good thing, really. But let me come to you. I want to ask you, Jam, what's the difference between this team and Jose Mourinho team in terms of the way they play? Can you just explain that to me, Jam?
I definitely think it's the fear. There's no fear of, here it's like if we concede an early goal, we'll just go on and attack
Well, we haven't
till we
seen
get
that
more
yet,
goals.
have we?
We haven't. But I know that when it will happen, the mentality will not change. It won't be like, oh, we need to pick ourselves up. The game plan is going to continue the same. It seems that we're just, whenever there's a chance to attack, we're not going to hold the ball back. We're not going to wait and look for creative chances and at the right moments. We're just full on attacking, and I love to see it.
Okay, great. Cam, let me ask you the same question. What's the main differences between this team and the Jose Mourinho team?
Well, I think that there's what we can see it in performance. They're just the same players are better players. Look at Lloris.
Why is that?
Well, have you seen Lloris make a mistake? Have you seen Sanchez and
Dyer
make very?
do really in the first match?
Well, I mean, not this game, but the last few games, he looks so much better as a goalkeeper than he did before. Why? You asked me a very good question. Why is that? And I'll tell you what I think why that is. And I think it's because under Mourinho, there was not. He didn't play to the players' skills. He played to how he wanted them to play. He didn't see that, this is what I can, the best position or the best way this player plays, and these are his skills. Let's enhance that. What he says, this is how I need the game played. And that's all. He didn't care about the rest. So what you saw is a lot of mismatched game plans with players, which led so many holes and gave us that feeling of being complete headless chickens. One thing that Nuno has done is he's looked at the players' strengths and he's set the team up to their strengths and given them a bit more confidence that they get the cover where they are weak. And I think Skipper obviously has made a big difference, because one of the things that Højbjerg never had in that middle was anyone they could really rely on or depend on, because you can't tell me that Ndombele playing with Højbjerg there or even Lo Celso playing there provide the sort of solidity and cover that Skip does. And we just never had that player. And having those two has given us 3 clean sheets. Forget about anything else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree with you 100%. These guys are giving us that defensive shield that we needed. Obviously, they're going to be tested when they come against the better teams. But
City.
City. Yeah. Well, it could have been down 2 or 3 down in the first 15 minutes. But anyway, they will be tested against better teams. But the first few times are really, really good. Let me come on to you, Cam. I wanted to ask you about Harry Kane. What did you think of his performance?
I thought Kane was very poor today. I think it was good to see him back, and it was good to see him in that position. I think that it's very clear to me that he hasn't been training that long with his teammates and with Nuno to fit into Nuno's plan. So he was just like thrown into that. And I think it can only get better. What we did see today, which was a bit disturbing for me, was the chemistry between the blind understanding between Son and Kane that we had last season, where they could just close their eyes and pass the ball to each other. They just knew how each other ran, where they were going to be, and I think this is the first game they've played this season together, so that's definitely got to improve. But overall, I mean, for me, I know the player got a touch to it, but man, how did Kane miss that sitter in the second half? I mean, it's that little bit. Let's face it, Harry Kane of last season. Put your mortgage on that.
Yeah.
So that's what we need, that sharpness back.
I'm sure it's going to come. Jam, what about the goal from Son? Was it a great free kick or a goalkeeping mistake?
It was a beautiful free kick, but it was also a goalkeeper mistake. He wasn't going for goal, but I mean, he put it in the position where you don't know what to do. The goalkeeper should have definitely come for it, but I'm sure there's reasons why he didn't, and it was just so well placed that nobody had to touch it. Just bounced in so nicely.
Okay, and any areas of concern for you, Jam, in the team? I know we won one.
Areas of concern. So I wanted to talk on Kane actually a little bit, because I think Kane is an enigma, and obviously I'm very happy he's still with us. I wouldn't not want to have Kane on the team, but he's an interesting player because it looked like we had a plan for post-life Kane. We had there's a 4-3-3 formation with the quick counter-attacking football that we've been playing in the last 2 matches, and it was phenomenal. It looked like we could move on without Kane. But Kane comes back into the team, and the formation reverts back to being centered around him, because obviously you have Harry Kane in the team, and you're gonna build your whole team around Harry Kane. It's just the way it is. He's the best player in England. But I think it definitely takes away from that direct counter attack that we were seeing the last few matches. The pace isn't as quick. Kane slows down the play a little bit because he's a creative type. He wants to pick his head up and look for it, whereas it was all instinct with Lucas, Bergwijn, and Son just pinging balls around, flying forward, and I definitely like having Kane in the team. I was mentioning to my dad earlier how I would really like to see Kane drop back into being like that third central midfielder, like the top of a diamond. Højbjerg skip on one side and then Kane, kind of just playmaker in it. With Son, Lucas, and Bergwijn up, or whoever you're going to have as your front three, flying forward, attacking with him, just spreading balls out. I think that could be really, really exciting but that's the problem. Harry Kane's a striker and he's there to score goals and he's the best goal scorer in the league again. So, you take what you can with him. I'm just happy to have him in the team.
Okay. But I still think we're missing that. We've got the skip double pivot with Højbjerg. We've got the front three. We've got that transition with a ball-carrying creative midfielder who can pass the ball through like an Eriksen.
That's Harry Kane. That's Harry Kane. If he could focus on that, I believe he could do that job so well.
Yeah, he could do it, but I keep going back to Eriksen because he's the best proponent of that art. And Cam, didn't we think Tonga and Ndombele was going to fill that void? Now he looks like. What's the situation with Ndombele, Cam? What's happening there?
Listen, my position on Ndombele. You're going to get me really steamed up now.
I want you to be steamed up. Come on.
Because look, as far as I'm concerned, the most cleverest thing that Nuno did is realise the role that Ndombele has played at Tottenham Hotspur for the last 2 years, and that is to get managers sacked. The reason Pochettino went is he put his faith in Ndombele, put him in the team, made him look like a fool. He went. Mourinho, who immediately called out Ndombele, and then for some bizarre reason stuck with him like
over
glue,
and over.
like over and over. However, whatever he did, finally he got what he deserved, and that's my mate bailout, which still upsets me very much right now. But Nuno didn't. And I just cannot see a place for Ndombele in that team. Personally, I can't see a place for him anywhere. £60 million. We'll get 20. I'd be very happy with 20. But there's no room for Ndombele in that setup in a Tottenham Hotspur shirt, period. That's my position.
Well, the rumours are he's upset because Sissoko's gone, Aurier's leaving, his French mates are leaving. He doesn't feel like. But that's fine. If he's not happy, he should be moved on. I totally agree with that. But what do you guys want to see in the next few days of the window? Who are we going to get in to try and help make that creative midfielder? Because the Celso can do it, I think, but we need other options.
I think we're all forgetting Dele Alli's been playing phenomenally. We said Son and Kane didn't link up so well today, but Kane and Dele look like the chemistry is coming back together. We had some good intermingling touches. Dele had a really good chance to put it in, and we had a lot of good opportunities today. On another day, we would have scored a lot more.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Jam's nailed it. I mean, look, we've all written Dele off last 2 seasons. We've all said, I can remember going back 3 seasons ago and saying this will be the best player in the Premier League in Britain. I can remember Sir Alex Ferguson saying to whoever the manager was at the time, pay whatever it takes, get this player in. No, was that whoever, he was phenomenal. He was a great player. How do you go from that height to where he was now unless can he come back? This is the time, isn't it? This is the season. This is the opportunity. This is the gap. Like you said, we have this hole in the middle of our team, it can be filled by Lo Celso or by Dele. And this is their opportunity to shine. And I'll take that. I think that if we can get Brian Gill on that wing playing with the speed and the way that he does, and Mora on the other side, we'll have some phenomenal pace coming in and to be able to scare some of the players. I would say today, probably the most disappointing player for me on the field was probably Reguilon. I think that he was scared out of his wits by the Watford winger. Was it Sarr?
Sarr is a good player.
We should have signed. We were supposed to have signed that. I believe we were
after Traore. Apparently, we're going for Traore, aren't we?
And I thought that it was incredible how. He got better than Reguilon, but I think that if Real Madrid are ever going to be coming back for him, it won't be very soon.
Yeah. Jam, what's your thoughts on who we should get in to try and help? Ndombele's going, obviously.
Yeah, I think we need somebody to cover that right back position because obviously Tanganga has made that his own. Hopefully Doherty can really pull up his socks and work for it hard because obviously he has that relationship with Nuno, but I don't have that much faith in that. So I feel like if we could get someone who could cover that position of being a centre back / right back would really be beneficial. But then there's also the other wing, like we said. We got Reguilon, we got Davis, who's been a very good, loyal team member. But he's Sessegnon's there. But Sessegnon looks like he's going to be playing higher up the pitch.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't think we really need anyone. I'm happy with how the team is. A second striker would be decent.
I still think we need a backup striker and a creative midfielder. We'll talk about Moriba from Barcelona coming, but apparently he's going to RB Leipzig now. Yes. We've lost you, Jam.
I don't know what happened. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. We can't see you. Oh, there you go. But can I just say, Ray, I think that if we're going to sign anybody, we need to think seriously about some of the players that the French players that we need to move on, because it seems like nobody wants to take them. I mean,
which French players are you talking about?
Aurier is one of them. I mean, if we're going to keep anybody, he'd be a good backup. I would still keep him. What is going on with Rodon? Rodon? I mean, has everyone forgotten about him? I mean, he was supposed to be, this season was supposed to be his season. So I don't know what's going on there. But am I impressed with Golini from what I've seen so far? Not really. I don't know who else hits so far, but I suppose it's early days. Yeah,
I think definitely to say at the moment. Yeah,
definitely better than Joe Hart, that's for sure. But I think there are a few other players. Well, the Sissoko has gone, which is, he was a good team player, but I still think that there is room to bring in some talent and, like you say, someone with some real creative skills. And then we could be there. I mean, where do we see ourselves going at the end of this season? That's the big question, isn't it?
That's what I was going to ask you. Are we getting a bit carried away? We're top of the table. We've scored 3 goals, haven't let in any goals, maximum points, only team in England in the Premier League with maximum points. Are we getting carried away with ourselves, or should bring us back down to earth, Jam? Where are we realistically going to finish this season, do you think?
Prior to the season starting, prior to the first match against City, I would have said outside of the top 5. But having seen the other team's performances so far, and obviously it's early days because last year in December we were top of the league and then we finished wherever we finished 7th. So you never know what's going to happen. But at this stage, there is optimism. I definitely feel like top 4 has to be our aspirations because that's what we should be always aiming for. I feel like there's definitely a couple stronger teams like Chelsea and Man City who have spent crazy amounts of money, who are probably going to be fighting for the league by the end of the season. And I think we're probably going to be more on par with like the Liverpool, Man United, and ourselves are going to be fighting for that top 4.
And Leicester as well, I think. But
Leicester.
Anyway, yeah. Cam, what do you think is our realistic aspirations this year?
To be honest with you, I would discount Leicester completely. I think Leicester will have a bad season this year. I think West Ham are the ones to worry about. I think that letting West Ham sign Kurt Zuma when we had a chance to sign him was a pretty big mistake. And I believe they're bringing in more players as well. I don't know where they're getting their money from. Clearly, Spurs are just looking to loan players, which is good and it can be bad too. But we just don't have that power, that money power. And the thing that we need to really emphasize today, 3 1-0 wins, right? Great 3 clean sheets, great defensive display, very good going forward. But you're not going to win anything or get top 4 just scoring 1 goal in every game. So we have got a problem here. I know Harry's only just come back and he's going to get you 20, 30 goals, let's hope, at the end of the season. So it should change. So, Son's already got you 2, but Dele needs to start scoring and the midfield need to start putting in some of the goals. And if we don't get someone who does that, we're not going to get into the top 4 because you're all right. Realistically, 3 clean sheets is great, but we are going to concede. And when we do concede, we need to score.
If you've got Skip and Højbjerg double pivot, you'll concede less, but then you're not going to score as many because the creativity is not there. So
exactly.
You need to find the right balance here, I think. Yeah. So okay, excellent, guys. Listen, I don't think we can close today without having a good old laugh at our friends from down North London, the Woolwich. I want you guys to talk about Woolwich now. So, Ken, why don't you start? Tell us the great things happening at Arsenal, please.
Well, I was very sad that they lost yesterday. I thought, and I'll tell you why. I thought if they could draw 1-1 somehow, then that would mean that we'd get Arteta will be there till after Christmas, by which time we absolutely have no chance of doing anything. But I mean, the worst thing that could happen in a way for a Spurs fan is for Arsenal to sink so low that before the transfer window shut, that they have time to throw money at it and get a new manager in. So I'd love to take a picture of the and blow it up of the table as it stands now. Spurs in the first position. Arsenal with 0 points.
Maybe that's one for you to check, Cam. I don't think that's ever happened. That we're top.
I actually got that right here. I was going to say first time in history of all of the top flight, not just the Premier League.
First time that Arsenal have lost 3 games in a row in 70 years, I believe, at the beginning of the season. I mean, they're breaking records in all the right ways. And having spoken to a couple of Gooners, what their biggest frustration is, and with Arteta, and if you speak to anybody, and I like Arteta, he seems like a nice guy, but it's completely, everything is his fault. It's his player management. It's his the people that he sends out on loan, the people that he gives extended contracts to. It's great. I mean, if you're Xhaka and Kolasinac and you're getting all that money and bumper deals, fantastic. And what's the other one that he gave? Suarez. I think Suarez, who was an awful player, yesterday got loads of money and a bumper deal. Fantastic. Keep paying them, I would say. So it's great. I'm very happy.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm very happy to see. Yeah, very happy to see Arsenal struggling as always. So it's one of the delights in this world. They just keep on giving. You know, I'm not going to hold back.
With this is it doesn't matter how bad Arsenal are or will be or are going to be. When it comes to Tottenham, they always raise their game. Now they've got 2 games and then they're going to play Tottenham. So you know, this is I'm happy they're right down the bottom, but they will raise their game when they play us. They always do.
Oh, definitely.
I wish we could play them this week.
These guys are all going to turn up against Tottenham.
All right. I think it's
we are going to
ludicrous.
turn up against them.
Hopefully Xhaka will be back for that match, you know.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Don't forget
Pre-match
also
ban.
that Nuno won at the Emirates last season. Let's hope he can do it again.
I think what we really should be talking about is what a fantastic job Nuno is doing, because it's not just the football that's being played; it's the cohesion in the team spirit is up. Like we were a battered team, we were down in the dumps. You know, Mourinho did something to us that I haven't seen any Tottenham team been that depressed, or Tottenham fans. Just it was depressing. It was so depressing. And then after that, we have to wait forever to find who our manager is going to be to get our preseason started. And you know, fair play to Levy and Paratici, because they did a fantastic job with Nuno. They you know, I'm very happy with Nuno being there, and I'm even more happy that we have Paratici now actually managing the football side of things, because clearly Hitchin and Levy just did not know what they were doing.
Yeah. Although Joe Hart was on in a video yesterday saying that when Nuno came, he said to Joe Hart, "You're never going to kick a ball for Tottenham again." That's all he ever said.
Good. No, he's tough. That's what I love about Nuno. He does not take crap. Where is Ndombele? We don't need to see Ndombele because we're perfectly fine with it. He was fully happy with letting Kane go, and we were all fine with it. You know, I'm happy Kane's still here.
I think Paratici and Nuno said, if he doesn't want to stay, get rid of him and give me the money to get somebody else.
Exactly.
Fair enough.
I mean, I think
Cam, let me ask you a question. What's going to happen with Ndombele now? We're getting close to the end of the season, end of the transfer window. He's not going to play under Nuno. What's going to happen with him? We got an asset worth 60 million, 200,000 a week. What are we going to do?
You've got to go, whatever it takes. And I don't believe it's worth 60 million. Even on loan, it's not worth 60 million. It's the 200,000 that we need to 250,000, I believe, that we need to start saving. It's definitely not worth 60 million, is he? Who's going to pay 60 million for Ndombele right now?
No.
You might be lucky to get 5. I mean, I'm shocked we only got 3 for Sissoko, which is ridiculous. I mean, you know, yeah. Well, I saw somewhere was 3 today, but I did see 2.
More to get his wages. He's on 90k a week as well. Get his wages off the bills.
Yeah,
good. I'm happy for Sissoko.
My view on Nuno, very simple and very interesting. Right, at the end of the first game, he came on the pitch here in America for a direct interview, long interview about tactics and everything else with some of the commentators, and. The first thing they said is, how impressed are you with Tanganga? And he just brushed it aside. He did not want to compliment anybody. He said, this is the team. This is how we play. But he had no problem picking out players like Sessegnon the other week and saying, nope, not good enough, didn't play well enough. And they're not going to get any favors from Nuno. Nuno, the thing that I read about him is he don't make friends. He doesn't. Nobody really necessarily likes him, but they know what he wants, and he knows how to train. And he knows how to do things and get things done. So Nuno's not the guy that's going to come around and put his arm around you, right? Like probably Mourinho will, and then later stab you in the back, like he probably did with Bale, where he probably put his arm around. But don't worry, you're going to be a great player. We're going to get you back, and then never play him. Right? Nuno, if he's ain't going to play, he's going to tell you very straight. And there is no favors. There's no messing around. There's nothing that that's what I like about Nuno. Also, I mean, would you want to meet him in a dark alley? Would you want to cross him? I mean, if I was a player, I'd be pretty scared of being balled out by Nuno because he could take you down.
Yeah, all the goalkeepers are crazy.
And I think that he's got that toughness and that mental toughness that Tottenham a lack that we thought we were getting from Mourinho, but what we were really getting from Mourinho was someone who's not a footballer, a bit of a con artist, and someone who's bought his way to fame and couldn't do it anywhere else.
Now, just before we finish, I want to get one thought I had is Tanganga's doing really well at right back, really strong, But going forward, he needs to learn to cross the ball and play better. Do you think we're lacking a bit offensively down the right side with the right back, Cam?
You ask me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think what he brings defensively is more valuable than what he brings offensively, and I would not take him out of that position just because his final ball isn't as great.
Okay.
Because he's so smart, he's so intelligent positionally.
And the only worry is if he gets injured, we've got Doherty at right back. So let's hope he doesn't get injured.
I think that in terms of Tanganga can only get better. Yeah. And that's the main thing. There's that, the only way for him is up. And we say that he's attacking. He almost got a goal today. He had a ball cleared off the line, I believe, and he's crossed that almost scored another goal, which we gave up for dead, where he went in, slid in, and hooked it right back.
Yeah,
it was pretty damn good. So he can only get better. And like Jam said to me earlier, is that forget about Reguilon being bought by Real Madrid. We got to watch out for in a couple of years of Tanganga getting bought by Real Madrid.
Yeah. Okay, let's finish then. So your final thoughts, Jam?
I say, come on, you Spurs, man! Look, another 1-0 for the next 3 matches. I'll take it.
Yeah, excellent. Cam, final thoughts?
Final thoughts is that obviously I like Palace, the London team, from South London, but they're managed by Aguna, so let's hope we thrash them. I think the Chelsea game coming up is going to be the real test because firstly they're a bogey team, and secondly we don't, for some bizarre reason, we always seem to roll over and let them have it. So that's going to be the real test. And if we can get past that, then as long as Arteta's at the Gunners, I think we should have the next 3 games in the bag. My view is that there's a long way to go. We must start scoring more goals and getting better, taking our chances. But come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. Okay, everybody, this is Ray from London, Spurs 95.1. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It's goodbye from Cam.
Goodbye, everyone, from Florida. And come on, you Spurs again. We're going to be top of the table. Let's stay there for at least 2 weeks.
And Jam.
Come on, you Spurs. Bye from Connecticut. Well, glad to be back here.
Yes, see you later. See you on the next podcast. Bye-bye.
Bye.